Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got some information coming out from Russia to share with you guys. We're going to be talking about Russian President Vladimir Putin. That's him right here in the video, meeting with his Security Council at the Kremlin yesterday. Now, I'm a little late to this news, but I was trying to cover it last night, but unfortunately I ran out of time, so I figured I'll just start off this morning with a video letting you guys know what happened yesterday. So if you're not aware of this, Russia warned NATO of nuclear weapons use if Russia is attacked, okay? Just yesterday, he put out a major statement. Russia is now changing their nuclear doctrine to cover a lot of the threats right now that the West poses to Russia. We know that the West is potentially going to give Ukraine the permission to carry out long-range strikes inside of Russia using Western-made missiles. We've been talking about that for weeks now. And now we have Russia coming out and warning that they'll use nuclear weapons if they're attacked, even with conventional weapons, okay? So we're going to be discussing that in depth today. And also, I'm going to show you guys the actual footage of him making this exact statement, okay? First, we're going to start off with this article so I can kind of go in depth a little bit about what we're talking about here. This is a very good article on Reuters. Putin issues nuclear warning to the West over strikes on Russia from Ukraine. So this came out yesterday, September 25th, 2024. And it says right here, President Vladimir Putin warned the West on Wednesday that Russia could use nuclear weapons if it was struck with conventional missiles, and that Moscow would consider any assault on it supported by nuclear power to be a joint attack. The decision to change Russia's official nuclear doctrine is the Kremlin's answer to deliberations in the United States and Britain about whether or not to give Ukraine permission to fire conventional Western missiles into Russia. Okay, and it says here, Putin opening a meeting of Russia's Security Council said that the changes were in response to a swiftly changing global landscape, which had thrown up new threats and risks for Russia. The 71-year-old Kremlin chief, the primary decision maker on Russia's vast nuclear arsenal, said he wanted to underscore one key change in particular. It is proposed that aggression against Russia by any non-nuclear state, but with the participation or support of a nuclear state, be considered as their joint attack on the Russian Federation. Okay, so how I interpret that is if Ukraine, along with the support of, the West, NATO, let's say the United States, for example, whichever country is giving this weaponry over to Ukraine, and if they launch, any of these missiles, let's say ATACMS, for example, into Russia, the Russian Federation, then Russia could essentially say, okay, well, this is a joint attack from Ukraine and the United States, so now they are both legitimate targets by Russia, and we do reserve the right to use nuclear weapons if necessary. Okay, so they're definitely warning that nuclear weapons will be used even if conventional weapons strike their territory. It says the conditions for Russia's transition to the use of nuclear weapons are also clearly fixed, Putin said, adding that Moscow would consider such a move if it detected the start of a massive launch of missiles, aircraft, or drones against it. Russia reserved the right to also use nuclear weapons if it or ally Belarus were the subject of aggression, including by conventional weapons, Putin said. Putin said the clarifications were carefully calibrated and commensurate with the modern military threats facing Russia, confirmation that the nuclear doctrine was changing. Okay, so this is very big information right here. So obviously they would use nuclear weapons if they were attacked, but if you notice, it says here that they would consider such a move if it detected the start of a massive launch of missiles, aircraft, or drones against it. Now, I don't know if that would include drones coming from Ukraine, but when it comes to missiles, something interesting that we heard recently is that the UK, for example, may give permission for Ukraine to strike inside of Russia using the British Storm Shadow missiles. Now, I would think that if they were going to launch any kind of an attack on Russia, they would want it to be very effective, not just, one or two strikes here and there. Obviously, if Russia's going to respond potentially with nuclear weapons, then you would expect, there to be some sort of massive attack of missiles, and maybe that's what Vladimir Putin is talking about here. And if you also notice, they include their ally Belarus within this nuclear doctrine as well, that they could also use nuclear weapons even if Belarus was subject of aggression, according to this information. Okay, so that's very big news. Russia's current published nuclear doctrine set out in 2020 decree by Putin says Russia may use nuclear weapons in the case of a nuclear attack by an enemy or a conventional attack that threatens the existence of the state. Okay, so essentially what they did was they updated their nuclear doctrine to make it more clear about what their red lines are. And obviously, if they have this nuclear doctrine, they have to stand behind it. So that's why I've been saying personally that I think the long-range strikes inside of Russia are for sure a red line for Vladimir Putin, and he's making that clear as of yesterday with the change of their nuclear doctrine, okay? So it says here, the innovations outlined by Putin include a widening of the threats under which Russia would consider a nuclear strike, the inclusion of ally Belarus under the nuclear umbrella, and the idea that a rival nuclear power supporting a conventional strike on Russia would also be considered to be attacking it. Okay, so again, it looks like a major part of this is if Ukraine attacks the side of Russia in any way with long-range missiles, then not only Ukraine, but potentially the country that gives those weapons over to Ukraine could be considered legitimate targets, even with nuclear weapons use. Okay, so very, very big news coming out from Russia in terms of nuclear, warnings and nuclear war. So one last thing I want to show you now is the actual video clip of him stating this exact thing. So I've got this pulled up on X for you from Alcy Kosak. It says, Russia reserves the right to use nuclear weapons if attacked with cruise missiles, UAVs, or any other strategic or conventional weapons. Putin has spoken. Okay, so we've got a 1-7-second long clip, so go ahead and take a look at the subtitles at what he has to say.
Четко фиксируются условия перехода России к применению ядерного оружия. Будем рассматривать такую возможность уже при получении достоверной информации о массированном старте средств воздушно-космического нападения и пересечении ими нашей государственной границы. Имея в виду самолеты стратегической или тактической авиации, крылатые ракеты, беспилотники, гиперзвуковые и другие летательные аппараты. Оставляем за собой право применить ядерное оружие в случае агрессии против России и Белоруссии, как участника союзного государства. С белорусской стороной, с президентом Беларуси все эти вопросы согласованы. В том числе, если противник, используя обычное оружие, создает критическую угрозу нашему суверенитету. В завершение отмечу, что все уточнения являются глубоко выверенными и соразмерными современным военным угрозам и рискам в отношении Российской Федерации. Давайте приступим к работе. Слово министру обороны Андрею Арамовичу Белоусову.
All right, so as you can see, we are definitely very close to a major nuclear war if NATO ends up allowing Ukraine to strike inside of Russia with some of their weapons. Now, that's why I think the West is really holding back here, at least at the moment. We'll see if they remain with that same posture and maybe just try to help Ukraine fund their, Palinitsia drone program, fund their Neptune missile program, and whatever cruise missiles or ballistic missiles that they might be working on right now. I would think that's the way NATO is going to go about this. But, then again, we still have Vladimir Zelensky presenting his victory plan to President Biden, also with supposedly with Kamala Harris and Donald Trump this week. So we'll have to see what that victory plan entails. I haven't heard any details on that yet, but we'll have to see what happens here, and if this victory plan does include long-range strikes, I'm sure there's going to be heavy pressure when it comes to that put on the United States and also NATO. So we'll have to see what happens here, guys. Definitely a major warning coming out from Vladimir Putin. So I just wanted to update you guys, let you know what is happening over here. And I hope you got something out of this. If you did, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing up down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. With that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.